Hey, all. Happy Thanksgiving week. Just getting ready to head out to go meet with family, do a little bit of travel, and was just thinking about a few things and thought I'd get on and say hi and share some of my Thanksgiving thoughts. Are you ever in that place where sometimes life is tough and you're just like, maybe it's difficult during the holidays for you, or you're not in a situation where you want to be? Maybe you're not talking to all of your family members, or you feel like your family's a little bit fragmented. People are all over, or you want to be in a relationship and you're not in a relationship, or you're not. Um, I don't know. They're not doing dinner at mom's house like they typically do, or whatever it is. You're just feeling a little out of sorts on the holidays. I think sometimes it's difficult in some ways to be thankful. And so, I think we should always be thankful. I think that's just kind of a blanket statement. I think we all know that. Be grateful and everything give thanks, right? For this is the will of God. First Thessalonians 5:18. I think that was a verse I memorized in school as a kid. But sometimes it's just difficult, or there's just like a layer of sadness or heaviness around a holiday, particularly when there seems to be so much going on in the world, and there's so much of a barrage of just stuff vying for our attention. And I had the thought of having this conversation with God. We do what we call RFIs, which is like a request for intelligence or a request for information. And if you're struggling to feel thankful, and you're kind of doing it out of, I know I should be thankful. One of the things I thought of, and I don't know, maybe it sounded better in my head, but was just the idea of praying and saying, God, what am I thankful for? Like, I know typically we think of when we go to God as it's like one-way communication, but it's really not. That's the beauty of dreams, right? That's the beauty of having a dream life, is in the midst of the waiting, in the midst of waiting for things to be different, or your healing, or the land that you want to buy, or the house, or the spouse, or the prodigal to return, or whatever it is, in the midst of waiting for the new job or your business to explode, sometimes it feels a little heavy. Um, and so I think, what if we just stopped and said, God, help me to be thankful, but also remind me of what I'm thankful for. Like, it's so easy once we get through one struggle to think of the next struggle. I had a friend that lived in Alaska. I heard from her an old Tibetan proverb that said, behind mountains are mountains, which means once you get over one mountain, you're on to the next one, and you're looking at the next challenge. Once you get your healing and your shoulder doesn't bother you, your body's not racked with pain anymore. Now it's like, well, now how do I get a better job? Or how do we fix this family situation? Or how do we do that? And sometimes just stopping and taking inventory and even asking God, just remind me of what I'm thankful for. I think would be really interesting. I'm going to do that this week and just kind of see what kind of dreams I have. Another thing I wanted to kind of float by you guys and just get your thoughts on is people ask me all the time, John, do you interpret every single dream you have? I do not, but I write them all down. And I wondered, because there's still some people that have been trained their whole life to believe that, a third of your dreams come from the enemy, and a third maybe come from your soul, and there's only a small portion that come from God. And so there's a whole lot of people that still blow off their dreams, that don't write them down. I believe, frankly, you're missing God. You're just not hearing from Him to the fullest extent. Seek the Lord while He may be found. If you have a journal open, ready to record any dream you have, don't prejudge it, write it down, and then seek an interpretation. We've covered this ad nauseum. I mean, if you're new and you've never heard of any of the stuff we do at Dream Life Decoded, that whole concept might be new to you. Most of you guys have heard me say that 100 times over the last 3 years. But the question is, are all dreams as significant? If we believe, and we here at Dream Life Decoded literally do believe, that all dreams come from God. Why? I described my 4-year journey on how I felt like God told me that. I went to disprove that at length. We can give you, if you've never heard that before, ask us. We'll send you the interviews that I've done about that whole process. I tell you the whole story, tell you the lengths that I went to try to prove it wrong. I don't know anybody that's ever tried to prove that wrong harder than I have. Um, and so I just tell people, just take my word for it. There's nothing in the Bible that alludes to the idea that the enemy has the power to give us dreams when we sleep. And in practical experience of some 17 years of interpreting dreams, we haven't found one single exception to the rule ever. Not ever. So believe me when I say that, because there's so many people that are like, well, what about this? Or what? We've heard it. We literally have heard it all. Literally have heard it all. Looked at there's not a verse in scripture. Well, what about Jeremiah 29? We have all of those covered. It's all on video. I can send you the links if you want to see it and then kind of judge for yourself. But that still begs the question, are all dreams as heavily weighted? What if you have a short dream that's 2 sentences long that you went to the fair and licked a lollipop? Like, is that as significant as a 2-page dream unpacking the international relationship between Iran and China? I don't know. Maybe not. But we also believe that dreams are an ongoing communication with God. There's something that happens on an ongoing basis. And so I've been thinking about doing a study, and I've never done this before. And I just wondered if anybody cared, if anybody would be interested in following this if I did this. I'm thinking of doing something where, like, I take a week or maybe a month and I do a live video every single day and I take inventory and I say, well, here's the dreams I had last night. Now let's interpret it. And we do that every day for a week, for 2 weeks, just to see, you know, because I don't share a ton of my dreams. I get incredible, amazing, awesome dreams, but I don't share them for some reason. I'm too busy interpreting the dreams of other people and putting different things together that I don't really interpret my own dreams a whole lot. But what if I did? And I'm wondering if that would help any of you, if you would be like, oh wow, yeah, God is really speaking in dreams and he's speaking every single day. Um, you know, would you be interested in following a journey like that if we did it? So just a question. Feel free to respond in the comments whenever. But it's going to be a great week. It's going to be a good week. It's going to be a great week for all of you. We're praying for everybody in our audience, everybody that tunes in. We love y'all. We all feel like we're family. And once you're sharing your dreams with somebody, there's kind of a level of intimacy that you develop over time. Sometimes God will show identity and destiny. And all the times that we've been on live dreams and we've seen so many, kind of a window into what's going on in some of your life, some of you who have struggled with your health or lost a child or things like that. We've seen God just bring healing through tears, through dreams and all of that. And so I feel like you all are our family in a sense. And so I wanted to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving week. The Black Friday specials are up. Just go to the YouTube page. It's the first video. Won't get into detail on that, but we're doing some really cool stuff. But yeah, if you're interested in following a journey where every day and that could take a lot. It could because sometimes I have 2 to 6 dreams a night. So if I am literally breaking down 6 dreams every single day, I could be on for like an hour or hour and a half going into detail. So again, I don't know that anybody cares. I'm probably not going to do it if nobody cares. But if there are some people that'd be like, man, that'd be really cool. That'd be an interesting journey to follow. I'm going to have to find some downtime, possibly between Thanksgiving and Christmas. I don't know if I could do it then or if we have to kick it to next year. It's just once you start the new year, there's so much going on. So maybe the holidays I could do even a couple of days or a week. I had a doozy of a dream last night. I was like back in the military, in the Navy. I was working with a leader in the body of Christ who wanted me to, he wanted to be my apostle. And there were guys chasing me around like what felt like a Navy ship. It was crazy. And this guy who wanted to be like this leader in my life kind of rescued me. I was like hiding in this Walmart and like, I mean, it was like this whole saga. And then there was this whole thing about being back in the Navy again. Like, what is that? Like, I've been out of the Navy for 20 years, but I was back in the Navy and I got picked up for an officer program, which I had before. And it was just like, it was almost like getting a shot to redo some of the things that I hadn't finished in my Navy career that I wanted to. Um, but it was in the context of this apostolic leader being my boss instead of a Navy guy. But then there were these people chasing me, trying to, I don't know what they were trying to do. I was just trying to get away from them. So, anyway, that was last night. It was like one long dream. Um, on Sunday, I had a dream that I was working at a very popular church that I was a part of for a number of years. And there's a prophetic person out there, and we were building IKEA cabinets on the stage. Like, this was crazy. I remember counting the 3 screws and the 3 washers, you know, how you open it up and there's parts everywhere, like getting ready to channel your inner dad for Christmas season, I guess. But and then we were having a meeting about the stage project, and there was a budget of 13 million for it. And it was and then there were some other friends that aren't really associated with that part of my life that were also there. And this prophetic guy, I mean, it was weird. It was there was nobody in the church. Like, the church was empty. It wasn't like during regular church, but there was this massive stage, and we were building like these cabinets that were like big. The best way to describe them is like super wide storage cabinets that you just kind of pulled out like a drawer, but they were in a 6 foot range of like my height from the floor to ceiling. There were only 2 of them. So they're like 3 foot drawers and like 10 feet long. And we were building these, and they were going to be like the backdrop at the back of the stage. And I didn't have any idea what we were putting in them, but it's a major edifice. It's a very well known church. And this is a very well known prophet at that church. And him and I were just counting out screws, getting ready to put it together. So yeah, I think I need to do live dreams and have some of y'all interpret my dreams. That'd be another fun thing we could do. We'll do reverse live dreams one of these nights, where we'll get on and I'll pull in a couple of guests and I'll say, okay, let me tell you my dream. And then you guys can comment in the comments. Well, hey, I think this is this, and I think this is that. And that'd be fun for me. I don't know if it'd be fun for anybody else, but um, yeah, I had a dream I was kissing someone. Those are fun. Um, Someone was shooting arrows at my mom and dad's house. I was hiding in the kitchen with bows and arrows. Um, then they were in my dad's office. I quietly ran upstairs, which was all cleaned out except for a bed, but the floor was filthy. Something about home, back home. Here's another one. I don't know why I'm sharing dreams, but I just kind of got in that mood since we're thinking about what if I took a bunch of these and interpret them. Teaching dreams to a group at a church or a conference. I was looking for a former partner, but I didn't see her there. I told my friends she was probably at a revival, and I was glad she was doing things and still growing. So, yeah. Um, Teaching dreams. Okay, so that's not a stretch at all. Teaching dreams to a group at a church or a conference. I haven't done that. And the reason is because when I owned a finance company, most of you don't know this. I'm just might be rambling a little bit. I'm just sharing a few things on my heart. But I wrote a book about biblical economics because I was working with funding churches and churches that need buildings and building programs, and they want to refinance or they want to build or whatever. And so I'd come in as the funding guy, but I would also I just felt like you don't want to fund a church without helping their people like get out of debt, without helping the people financially. So I put together a whole course, a workbook, a book, and everything for people related to biblical economics. So I have a published book, and then I republished it again in 2019 and updated it. And this was before I was really teaching full time the dream stuff. And so when I started doing dreams, I just didn't really feel like I wanted to go back on the church circuit and teach in churches. And I know that there's a lot of not a lot, but there's some of the better known dream interpreter teachers. They kind of do that. They go from church to church to church, and they do the conference circuit. And I just never really felt that that's what I needed to do, but I'm open, so I wonder if this dream is alluding to that, because some people have asked me that, would you travel around and speak? Would you come to our conference? Would you come to our church? And I'm open to doing that. One of the things, I hope my team doesn't mind me saying this, but one of the things that we're looking at doing this next year is we're looking at doing a live in-person sim. Right now, sim is 8 weeks long, but what if we got together? What if I went to Southern California and I got invited out there and we put a group of people together, and in like 5 days we could get through all 8 weeks of the modules by doing 4 or 5 different lessons a day for 4 or 5 days. um, that would be like a fast track way of getting sim done, and we could do it all over. We could do it at any different location. um, but I was looking for my old partner and I didn't see her there, and I told my friend she was probably at a revival. Well, that's gotta be fun. I was glad she was doing those, that she was doing revivals and still growing. So this is about me teaching in a different environment than I'm used to. A lot of what I do is, obviously, it's online, right? Um, I have done a fair amount of teaching in person. I usually like the smaller groups because we like to do what we call dream labs. And if you get over 20 or 30, it just, not everybody has an opportunity to kind of chime in on the dream and do all that. Um, but looking for an old partner, heard she was doing some other stuff, revival and all that, and glad that she was still growing. So I feel like what this stream is really about is just about the idea of expansion, moving on, doing more, reaching more people in person. It sounds like churches and conferences, which in my old life, when I was doing finance, I literally traveled all over the place all the time. And so I got kind of tired of traveling all over the place all the time. And so the idea of the whole conference or the church thing or whatever, I mean, again, I'm not opposed to doing it. It's just not something that I really am desiring. Oh man, I'd love to travel more. Like I've kind of been there, done that for years. But if it can kind of um, help meet people or help teach people in different parts, um, then yeah, I mean, that's something that I could certainly look at. But this is about the idea of teaching at groups or at conferences at the same time, looking for my old partner. I've had a couple of older partners, and some of them are still with us, and some of them, they just go through different seasons in life. After 2 years, they're like, "Man, I feel like I really need to dedicate time to my career or my family, or do this or do that." And so it's there's life is kind of a constant letting go. So I wonder, what is God saying here? Is He trying to tell me that there's some things to embrace in a level of expansion? At the same time, it's okay to kind of remember and celebrate what other people are doing. So, what are your thoughts in the comments here? Maybe we do smaller churches. That's interesting. If you considered that, ask God. Yeah, I think I will. I love listening to dreams being interrupted. It helps me understand some things in mind. Yeah, right. Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Um, what else do we have here? There needs to be more people who are quality equipped to be able to help others interpret dreams. Yes, thank you. This is my heart. This is why I've spent so much time on doing things like courses, is because I can go around and do a conference and get people all excited, but I can't teach you 20 hours of biblical dreams at a conference. And as good as conferences and even a lot of ministry schools are, there has to be an amount of mentorship where it's in person, um, not necessarily one on one, but there's a lot of transference of both quality of education um, and skill set and impartation, right? God is speaking to everyone, and the people need to know this, a relationship with Him. Yeah, I feel the same way. For those of you that don't know, we have two companies. We have the the dream life decoded, the purpose of that is to let the whole world know that God still speaks through dreams. And then the spiritual intelligence side is all about providing spiritual intelligence from dreams to leaders. So it's kind of two different things, but get a map, put it on the wall, then ask God where to go. Right? Get a dart, right? Just throw the dart at the wall. John G. Lake creates teams to reach the world. Maybe that would work. See, that a lot of you guys are really kind of pinging on my heart. And it's what Lorraine says. There needs to be more people who are quality and equipped and put teams together. I would love to do that. I would love to put teams together that could travel around and could really, there's all different phases of what we do. There's people who, for the first time, like we just launched the Supercharger Dream Course. So if they're just a dreamer and they want to know more about dreaming, great. But then there's the spiritual intelligence mentorship, which goes, and there's several phases between supercharge your dreams, and then the dream course. And then it would be like sim, and then we got a couple others in between. But specifically, depending on what kind of information you're looking for and what kind of skill set you want to develop, missionaries of dreams. I don't know, Dawn. Is your bag packed? You ready to go? Who would go? Who would travel around and interpret dreams? And we're also we're always looking at, God, how can we spread your excitement about the dream language to your people in other places? And one of the things that we've looked at is the idea of doing in-person dream labs. People love dream labs. It's when we get together with a huge honking whiteboard, and it's usually like a house meeting. There's not necessarily more than 20 people. 20 people is kind of a max. But everybody gets a little blurb on the Joseph method. Hey, here's how you do a dream. And then we pick somebody with a dream, and anybody could facilitate these in their house. Like they really could. They don't need me. They don't need really, it doesn't even need to be somebody that's super trained. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, guys. But just to pick a short dream, separate it into symbols, and then for people to be able to begin to hear where they say, hey, I think the cat is this. And we've done these with kids, and kids are just great because they have no filter. They just yell whatever comes to their mind, and that's exactly how you do it. And sometimes in a room full of befuddled adults, there's a 6-year-old with clarity that just yells, "Wah!" And you're like, yes, that's the answer. They're so fun. So we thought about doing those like all over the nation, either traveling around or just setting up a way that people could kind of do it on their own. Um, I agree with some of the comments here. There needs to be more people. Um, get out a map, form teams. Huh. Sounds fun, right? Yeah, I think it could be fun. I think it could be a whole lot of fun. That would be cool. The dreams he's been giving me is very interesting. I would travel some, but it wouldn't be just for dreams. It would also be for praying for healing. Ooh, doing the whole John G. Lake thing. The two combined. Yeah. Joanne likes that idea. Well, anyway, I got to get on a plane soon, but I just thought I'd kind of touch base and let you know some thoughts. Um, I love hearing y'all's input and seeing what excites you. I'm dreaming all the time, so like I said, what would excite me is probably having my own dreams interpreted on a more regular basis, especially if I didn't have to do it. There's always this mantra where it's like you can't interpret your own dreams. You in fact can interpret your own dreams. It just feels better when somebody else does it who doesn't really know you, because then it's like this big pop and how did you know that? And anyway, so having people bring a short dream each. Yep. And having dinner, people bring one dish and communion at the house. All right. Sounds like we're getting a whole program set up here. Lorraine's got a binder full, like a Bible study with dream interpret. That's exactly what a dream lab is. Is awesome, Joanne. Like a Bible study with dream interpretation. That's it. So we do those in person. They're fun. We've done them. That's kind of what live dreams is like. But you don't get everybody here in person yelling out the same answer. They have to do it. They have to do it through. They have to do it through the comments. So Anyway, awesome. Cool. Joanne, I'm excited for you to try the new course. I've never done a course on just streaming before. And so I kind of dug deep and started looking up some other scriptures and some really cool pieces that we put in there. I'm really excited. I mean, no, it's a short course, but I'm super excited about it. It's kind of fun. It's different than anything we've ever done so far. So, um, but yeah, so yeah, I got to travel. I got to finish packing. I just kind of took a break between packing and getting ready to head out, and thought I'd hop on and just see how y'all were doing on this beautiful Monday. It's a busy week. It's an interesting week. There's a lot that's happening. Keep your heart light. Let any challenges, issues, stuff just roll off your back and stay in that place of gratefulness. And even be grateful for the things that happen along the way. It's not about the journey. It's not when I get to see family. It's on the way, and how are you treating people as you get on the plane and at the airport, and all of these things. You could be the person that lights up somebody's day just by being intentional. I like whenever I leave the house, I don't know if anybody else does this, I just might be weird, but I like to think, especially if I'm headed somewhere, like if I'm going to a Bible study, I think of the question, what am I committed to cause? Which means by the end of the night, how will people have experienced me? And if you don't do that, sometimes you're walking around grumpy, and everybody you bump into, from TSA to people waiting in line to get their bags, thinks, what a jerk. Whereas if you make it intentional and you're like, you know what, I'm going to have my eyes peeled and be looking out for who can I say a kind word to, or interpret a dream for, or how can you just strike up a conversation and say, do you dream a lot? And begin dreams is like the quintessential thing to begin to start any conversation with anyone about. So you want to meet people, ask them about dreams. Just say, hey, you ever have a weird dream? Oh my gosh, yeah. So have you been dreaming more since 2020? Or hey, have you heard it? Just open the door, start a conversation, see what happens. I'm going to see if I can interpret some dreams on the flight today. I don't know that I've ever done in-flight dream interpretation. I usually put on the headphones and listen to an audiobook or go to sleep, kind of retract into my own little world, but it might be fun. So maybe I'll do another live if I get the opportunity to interpret a dream for someone. I will at least ask. I'll do that. I'll at least ask somebody if they have a dream that they want to be interpreted, and maybe it'll be a story. Who knows? Maybe I'll make a friend. Um, First show was Chris Alicia. I've seen her, listen to a few of her times. Yeah, Krista's awesome. We love Krista. She's amazing. Yes, ambassadors. We'll be ambassadors on the planet. You do that. That's awesome. All right, cool. My PT guy said he never dreamed. And after I told him what I did, he then later told me a dream he just had. A relative, a family member of mine just recently shared a dream, and I need to call them too because they normally don't dream. And I really want to celebrate the fact that they dreamt and they shared it with me. So, anyway, love y'all. Have a wonderful and incredible week. And I'll probably pop on once or twice throughout the week. I will be back Saturday, which means I'll be around for live dreams. Don't know that I'll see you before Thanksgiving, but if you're interested in our Black Friday specials, like I said, they're up on videos on YouTube and all of that stuff. But have a good week. Treat your family well. Treat yourself well. Really try to be in the spirit this week, because just remember, this week can be really difficult for some people. So have a conversation about dreams and see where it takes you. I look to hear from you as well as share with you what divine appointments we have around dreams. So happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you soon.